As we continue to track the dignitaries as well as the high-profile guests, heads of state arriving in South Africa ahead of the inauguration of President-elect Cyril Ramaphosa tomorrow. We understand now, as you can see, another aircraft coming in, the King Mswati of Eswatini, who is arriving now. Mswati, thank you so much for staying with us. This is also quite crucial. You remember a bit earlier on this year, in March, in fact, President Cyril Ramaphosa was in Eswatini, and given the fact that South Africa is Eswatini's third largest, or rather the largest trading partner, talk to us a bit about that.
We're waiting for Sophie Mokoena, our international editor. But we can tell you that heads of state from across southern Africa arriving tonight. Many at Waterkloof Air Force Base being greeted by ministers. Jeff Radebe and Naledi Pandor were there in the line earlier. We had the head of the DRC and the head of Angola arriving. The head of Zimbabwe is in town. And they're all coming en masse tonight.
Of course, bilateral discussions, you'd recall regional and continental issues were discussed just in March while President-elect Cyril Ramaphosa had been in Eswatini in March of this year. When he travelled to that country, of course, he was accompanied by the International Relations and Cooperation Minister Lindiwe Sisulu. And of course, I think this is very significant given that South Africa is Eswatini's largest trading partner. Sophie Mokoena, I hope you can hear us now. Our foreign editor is live for us at the Waterkloof Air Force Base. Sophie, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Griselda.
All right, Sophie, this is quite significant, of course. We've got King Mswati of Eswatini arriving there now. And I think also quite significant, a bit earlier on I mentioned that just in March, President Cyril Ramaphosa had been in Eswatini for bilateral talks, and also significant on the part that South Africa is Eswatini's largest trading partner.
Yes, indeed. The relation dates back during exile years. You know, many activists were in Swaziland. And now the relations are continuing under the democratic dispensation. And South Africa always available to assist Swaziland. We know very well that the country is going through difficult challenges economically. And we know that President Ramaphosa, or President-elect, visited Swaziland recently, even though there were talks of what were actually the reasons for him to go there. But the International Relations Department, the minister in particular, did clarify the visit, saying that it was a normal working visit. And now we see King Mswati arriving here in South Africa. I must say, Griselda, a massive plane. It's very big. Very big. And you recall that when he bought that plane, there were talks whether is it wise to buy such a massive plane when you have people who are struggling in your own country. But what can we say? King Mswati has arrived here in South Africa to attend the inauguration.
It does. It looks like a plane arriving from another country full of tourists. It's massive. Sophie, do we know where King Mswati, where the other heads of state are staying tonight, sort of the logistical arrangements around their arrival at Loftus Versfeld tomorrow as well?
Well, in terms of where they stay, normally that's not being divulged for security reasons. But you know very well, some will be in Johannesburg, others will be in hotels here in Pretoria. But those logistics are not communicated for security reasons.
Well, that's right. The two countries, of course, have previously signed about 21 bilateral agreements, which serve, of course, as legal instruments for cooperation between the two countries across the lines of goods, trade and investment, health, defense and policing as well. Mswati, one would imagine, of course, with the strong relations between South Africa and Eswatini, perhaps, again, in terms of this relationship between the two countries, it does speak volumes as well that Eswatini, which is just right next door, feels it's quite poignant to come and share in this moment for South Africa.
Yes, you know very well that Eswatini is part of the SADC region. You know that currently South Africa is the incoming chair of the AU. Swaziland was supposed to have been the incoming chair of the AU, but due to the challenges and the economic challenges, there was a request by heads of state in the SADC region that South Africa must step in. There were also talks that because Swaziland can't host the AU summit, midterm summit, South Africa was expected to do so, but that matter hasn't been concluded yet. We are still waiting, and you can see there Minister Nkwane Mashabane is the one who's going to receive the king.
So, Sophie, we're seeing various ministers involved. Are they rotating, taking turns in welcoming these heads of state?
Can you repeat your question?
Are we seeing various ministers involved in welcoming these heads of state?
Yes, each head of state is being received by a minister, but in terms of the low-key delegation, you'll have officials receiving such delegations. But in terms of heads of state, you see senior cabinet minister receiving heads of state. But if it is a big country, for example, if it was China, the president of China, it could have been perhaps a vice president or the deputy president of South Africa. It depends on the relations and also the level of the interaction with that country, how important the country is. But of course, all the heads of state will be received by different ministers.
Well, thank you very much to our foreign editor, Sophie Mokoena, of course, who's live to us there from the Waterkloof Air Force Base. The latest to arrive in dignitaries, high-profile guests, King Mswati of Eswatini, of course. And we did indicate a bit earlier on that we will be crossing live to the